What up, people? Pushing While Black here, and I'm trying something different. My last was real low, and I'm recording with my voice recorder, the voice memo option on my phone. So we're gonna see how this audio works. I did a couple tests and it worked out all right, but we'll see. Anyway, I got let go yesterday from my job, so I am officially unemployed. So this vlog is gonna be about the journey of a person after a government job, because my first job out of college was a government job. It was one of those. It was through one of those like government placement programs for disabled college students. And there's been a lot of talk about working in the public sector and working for the government for people with disabilities. And what if that isn't a fit for you? Because I found out that it really wasn't a fit for me to work at a government agency. I'm not saying I'll never do that again, but just for what I was trying to do and what I was trying to get out of the deal, it wasn't a good fit. So this blog is about the journey that I took after that. So basically, I have an associate's degree in visual communication, and I have a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies, where my focus was sociology and visual communication. Sociology, fine arts, and visual communication. So it was basically a degree so I can get out of school relatively fast, because I had already been in school for too long. It took me about 9 years to get the degree. 7 years. I took 2 years off in between going to school and stuff. So basically, I took this job right out of college working for this government agency. And I'm not going to say who it is, but it was through workforce recruitment program, and I interned with them twice. And it was a good experience. The internship was an awesome experience. The job itself, the first 2 years were cool. The last 2 years were kind of like eh. So they were doing a rift. I got caught up in the rift. Well, they were doing a rift. I had an opportunity to stay and be part of the rift, or I can take a settlement and I can leave. So I took a settlement and I left. And I was thinking with my degree, because the reason that I decided to be a graphic designer is because you can make your own way as an artist. And I'm not really good with the freehand, but I'm good with Photoshop. So I figured, since I can't be, because my original plan was to work in radio. I wanted to be a sports talk radio host. So that was the original goal. And then when I came back to Dallas from Chicago, I didn't have an opportunity to pursue that um, formally. So I was always an artist. I was always an artist in school. I was always in art classes. So I decided to go ahead and do this. And it turned out that I was actually kind of good at it, that I won a couple awards in college, and I won an award as a professional while I was in college. But that was a professional award. So it turned out, I was like, I'm going to take this as a career. And basically, that's what I've been doing. So I figured, like, okay, I'll be, I'll just freelance, or I'll get another design job right away. Because I figured, like, because one of the reasons why I wanted to leave my job was because it was impossible for me to grow there. So I was like, I want to be able to do something else. And I want to be able to, like, grow in my field. So when they let me go, I took that opportunity to look for jobs, and it was really hard because I dealt with ableism. You know what I'm saying? I literally was on a job interview where she loved my stuff, and then she couldn't hire me because the building didn't have an elevator. So, and that was the last job before I just decided I'm gonna take this call center gig that I was working at. But trying to find graphic design jobs was kind of rough. And then it's weird because a lot of times the way you make it is small to mid-range companies. And I've had awesome interviews, but they're always in the southern or the western sector of Dallas. And sometimes the building can be an issue. And I know, like, if I put this on YouTube, then people will be like, or if I put this on my Facebook page and it's shared by people, I know people will be like, well, you could sue them. It's like, yeah, I can, but I don't have a lawyer on retainer, and sometimes lawsuits take a lot of work, and I just feel like, that's life. Life happens, and sometimes you just want to go and do your own thing. Sometimes suing is not an option. So after that interview, I just decided it wasn't even after that interview. I think I was working at that place, but I was working at that place, but it was kind of, but that was the last like interview I went on. I was working at the call center, but I took the interview and the place loved my stuff, but they didn't have an elevator, so I couldn't take the gig. So the journey after I lost my government job was I the first like couple of weeks it was kind of cool because I kind of took some time off. I kind of worked on my portfolio. There was some freelance opportunities that I took on, and there's actually some freelance opportunities that I'm gonna take on now. So I'm actually kind of cool with it being laid off earlier than I was expected to because I can do other things, and then I'm trying to move out of this apartment and stuff. So I need to pack. So it's all good. But when I lost this job, I like the government gig. I looked for jobs in my field. I couldn't find anything. Then I had home friends that hooked me up with interviews, and it just didn't work. So I was at a career fair at my old college, in my junior college, and I had never worked call center work before, and I had an interview to work for AT&T, and what happened? I had an interview that I worked at AT that I was gonna be like a telesales customer service person, and we had a typing test, and I can't type at all. The cerebral palsy, like there are people with cerebral palsy that can type. I'm not one of those people, so I've always ran away from call center work because I was never able to do it right, and I was never able to pass the typing test. So I never really wanted to do that. I always wanted to be an artist because I knew if I learned the skill set, I can make my own way. So when I went on the interview to AT&T, she liked my resume, but she was like, "This isn't the place for you. You don't have any call center experience." So it was kind of like I got at least to finish. I'm not. I didn't really want to do temporary work. I was kind of scared to do temporary design work, which I should have did, and probably next year I'm gonna go into doing that. But I took this job as a call center representative to doing collections, and it was paying like $9 an hour. And this is one of those like this is the point of the blog kind of. Um, there's a in the job like I was doing training or whatever, and the job itself it had it was a collections job, and the job itself they had a I didn't take a typing test. I took the interview. I told the lady that basically I'm trying to get call center experience just in case I can't stay in my field. Call center work is kind of something that I can do. And she was like, well, we'll give you, and I told her about the typing situation. My advice to people looking for a job with a disability, some people say don't let them know about your issues. I say let them know about your issues because they would know up front like what they have to deal with. So I let them know about the typing situation, and everything was cool. Like she was like, "All right, we'll get you in training. We'll see how you doing training, and then we'll get you in training. We'll see how you doing training, and then if you don't do anything in training, we'll let you know." So basically, I was okay, but I wasn't doing well in the test, and on the practice calls, I wasn't fast. There was like a lot of information that I had to know, and I wasn't really fast, and I wasn't typing fast. And the trainer got kind of annoyed, and it was kind of like, all right, I got pulled in a room. It wasn't even that. Like the training person, they sent everybody out in the room on break, and they told me to hold back. And I basically was told like they don't know if I'm going to be able to do the job. So they moved me to they moved me into like a warm transfer agent, which is you call or you get a phone call from collections, and then there's a transfer. It's basically like if you ever are owed a bill, there's the personal business matter call. Like you get a phone call, and then the call goes, "This is so and so regarding a personal business matter. Please call us back at," and they give the number. So I was doing the warm transfer agent, and I was that person for a while. And then I found out that like my reaction time to the screen wasn't really fast. So excuse me. I tried to do that, and that didn't work. So apparently there's this position called manual dialer. And I would never have known that this position existed if it wasn't for this company. So manual dialer is where you sit at a computer all day. There's auto dialers where they can press a button, and they auto dial like a list of calls and like a list of numbers. But there's like I guess they didn't want they couldn't use the auto dialer program, so they had like a manual dialer program where you sit at a computer and you turn you can. That's one of the few positions where you can learn. You can have a MP3 in a call center where you click 3,000 times an hour. Then you go through campaigns to call people, and then the manual dialer calls people, and then you, as a warm transfer agent, you like do the transfer, and then the regular agent, um, the regular agent they they take the collection call, and I did that, and I didn't even know those jobs existed, but I was like, that's a good job for a disabled person that doesn't know how to type, and it was $9 an hour, and it was I think it was $8 an hour, but because I started in collections, they kept my money the same. So that was a good experience. And that also goes into too, companies gotta half the battle with jobs and half the battle with ableism on the jobs is whether a company is willing to work with you or not. Because if a company likes you or not. Because if a company isn't willing to work with you, that's half the battle right there. The second thing is part of this journey is I worked at this company where it was an open enrollment season, and this is something that I actually learned in and I'm actually going to use with my job, my next call center job, if I ever have to work in a call center. Sticky notes are your friend. And what I mean is not actual paper sticky notes. I'm talking about if you work in a Windows system, and I think they have it in Mac too, but most call centers work in a Windows environment. If you can't type 40 words a minute, but you somehow make it in, if you somehow make it past the test or they don't test you, get sticky notes. For those of you with CP that really can't type, have them install the program Sticky Notes on your screen, because this is what I ended up doing, right? So the job is basically, I was in the open enrollment season, and was an application data processor. And basically what an application data processor does is after the benefit advisor or the salesperson, they don't like using sales. They don't like using sales here, but that's what they're doing. So basically the application data processor, they process the applications. You read the applications to the customer, and then you fill out the application. And I personally have told customers because there are times that you're gonna have to type something. So you just tell the person that you're on the phone with, bear with me, I'm not the best typer in the world. And for the most part, I've never had a supervisor get on me about that. But this is what I wanted to mention with the sticky notes. Like there's this program called through Windows called Sticky Notes where you can put like sticky notes on your machine on your desktop screen and you can post things on your screen. You can post stuff on your screen that you're going to use all the time. So, for example, we had notes that we had to take. Like after we filled out the application, we had notes that we had to take, and I had like all my notes set up in sticky notes, and I also had all my notes in sticky notes. I had all the plans that I had to use to copy for my notes. I had that set up in sticky notes where my handle time on some calls were just like everybody else. But that was a trick that I used, and that was a trick that they told us. And I didn't really know about the sticky notes or whatever, and I didn't know if I can function. But I was like, man, if they'll let me use sticky notes on every call center job, because a lot of times when we're looking for work, a lot of times we don't know what assistive technology that we can actually use on jobs. Because I've never thought about like we're using Dragon Naturally Speaking on the call center job, just because of the volume of noise. And I never really got an opportunity. No one has never really told me about adaptive and assistive technology that I can use on a job. And this is something, and it really gives an assistive technology thing, but it's a trick that I learned working at this call center to where I can go faster. And what I've also learned with the call center that I worked before this one is that you can ask for a private system. If you work in a call center, basically you're sharing computers with people on different shifts. Well, you can ask them for, and it's a reasonable accommodation where you can have your own private system to where sticky notes you can save people's information, or you can save not necessarily people's information, but you can copy and paste commands into your sticky notes, and then you can you can copy commands onto your sticky note tab, and then you can paste them on the actual like command post that you need, and you can go faster. So that's the journey that I was on. Like I didn't even know a position called manual dialer existed, and I would never know how to, because that's something that that's never posted. That's just something that they put somebody in. But now it's like I can go back at at that job that I was at now, that I was at when I just lost my government gig, and I can tell them like, hey, can we do this? Can I use sticky notes? Can I do this? And that was just something that I'd never really thought of. So what's next for me now? Well, I'm gonna go back in my field. Like I'm gonna see if I can go back in my field. I'm probably gonna go visit my mom, and then while I'm visiting my mom, I might check out some opportunities up that way. I'm from Chicago, so I'm probably gonna visit her for a while and see what she's about and help her on some things. But I'm also gonna check out some things with my career and to see if I can get back in my field. If I can't get back in my field, then I'll be moving back to Dallas, and we'll go from there. But I've learned, like with this little journey, man, and I've also learned that we gotta take well, not what we can get, but in some situations, there's no option that you can go in. There's no. In some situations, you got to take what you can get. Like I can't really. I was in a situation like toward. I want to say last. I want to say April that I needed something, and I just took something. But it showed me too that like certain industries and certain companies, they'll work with people with disabilities, and I know the call center, that's kind of like a stock job for us. But even with some people, customer service doesn't work because of our typing skills. And I'm speaking from a person with CP. Some people with cerebral palsy, like, they have speech issues, and it's like they might not be able to do. Like, I have a typing issue, but I don't have like a drunk CP voice, so I can actually do call center work. But I never really knew how to go about doing it because I always had typing issues. Now, some companies won't test you, some will. Like the last couple of call center jobs that I've been on, they didn't test me. But this last one, it taught me so much about what tricks I can use and how to be faster, to where I was still, I wasn't the fastest there, but I wasn't the slowest either. But they let me go because it was open enrollment season, and that's just how it was. They let me go. So I can't really get mad at that. It was kind of weird getting laid off on your day off, though. That was one thing. But as far as like the situation, it was a good job. It was something that, I'll put it to y'all like this. I'm always going to be a graphic designer, but if I can't be in my field, I can do customer service. And now I'm a little bit more, I don't want to say I'm a little bit more confident, but I know I can do it. If I can pass the typing test, because I had a couple of agencies that I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't hire me, but they had benefits, which is one of the reasons why I couldn't stay at that place anyway if they hired me, because they don't have a good benefits package. They don't have any benefits package. But one of the things that I learned was, and I don't know how to beat that. I don't know how to beat this. So whoever listens, let me know how to beat this, because I had one company that was like, they wouldn't even look at me because I couldn't pass the typing test. Like, I couldn't have an interview, and I couldn't even. And it probably would have been just as well, because now, back then, I didn't know what assistive technology that I could use. But it all depends on the company, because certain companies, like, I know I can go back to, because they're willing to help real quick. One thing though that I wanted to mention before I end this, because it's been 23 minutes now almost. Um, how did I get the second call center job? The first call center job, I just did myself, and I got in the interview, and the lady was really nice. And the reason that I got the job and I was able to stay was because her daughter was a painter, and she understood what it was like to be a starving artist. Now, and this is what I ultimately want for, I ultimately wanted to say for this too, is we as disabled people got to look out for each other. Meaning, I got my second call center job, the one that I just got let go from, was because one of my friends worked there as a salesperson, and he was telling me, because I was worried. I had to pay. I was trying to figure out how to finish out my lease, and I was worried. And he was like, "Man, look, come up to this place. They hire disabled people. Don't worry about the typing situation. Like, it's good." And I was kind of apprehensive because it was a call center thing. And he was like, "No, bro, listen to me. This is better." He's like, "You don't have to worry about the typing thing." And sure enough, like, I was able to get in. Sure enough, I was able to get in, and I was able to do well at my position. I tried to, because you have to be licensed to sell health insurance, and I tried to get my license, and it didn't work. It didn't work out with the test, but they offered me the position to be the data processor, and it was cool. Like, ironically, that was um that was a better job than the government job, really, from a financial standpoint, for the hours that I worked. But it was good for my it was good that I didn't have to do 2 hour, 3 hour commutes every day. I did get a chance to learn paratransit, and I didn't realize that I really didn't like it. Well, other than that, and I met some really cool people. Um, one of which I met some really cool people. And one of the people that I met, we're gonna be working on some some things that I'm not at liberty to discuss until we actually get to the point that it's done. But believe me, you guys will know, like y'all know about it as soon as it's done. But he asked me not to really mention it until we actually finish it. But yeah, I'm gonna be working with him, and there's a lot of, but we got to network. We have to network with us because I'm I'm a big opponent of these government agencies that are quote unquote supposed to help us because they don't. And it just seems like my most success has always been like networking and doing stuff yourself. Because half of these government agencies, like Department of Rehabilitation Services, they don't do anything. Like I've had, especially with my career, they don't really want to post. They don't really want to help you. So I just feel like we got to work. We got to help each other out. And one of my best friends, he was working at this place, and he helped me out, and it was an awesome situation for me for the time that I was there. But I just feel like we all need to do that. Like I feel like if you, the job that he's at now, he got on the job he's at now because he's not at the job that I got let go from. The job that he's at now, he basically got that gig because he um he was on his local paratransit, and one of the riders, they started to have a conversation, and lo and behold, they got a little quick friendship, and she helped him get on to where he is now. And it's like a lot of times we're asking, you know what I'm saying, these agencies like the Department of Rehabilitation and Services to help us. And they really don't do much. And a lot of times, man, you just gotta be ready for an opportunity. And my buddy has helped me out with a couple of opportunities, but like I really want to focus on my career, and he, you know, and there are things that I want to do as far as visiting my family and everything. So we'll pushing while black will still be doing. I'll still be doing my YouTube thing and some other things going on, but it just might be in another location. But we just need to work. We just need to help each other out, and we need to know. We need to learn from. A lot of times too, it really isn't about like if you know there's a company that hires disabled people, let them know. If you know that there's a company that hires disabled people, but the environment's bad, still let them know, but just let them understand that there's a bad environment. If you know that there's a company that hires disabled people and it's a good environment, let them know. And learn about tricks, because sometimes adaptive technology and assistive technology doesn't really work well with your job, but there are other tricks of the trade, so to speak, that you can use that companies don't even know exist that you can actually tell them about. And one of the things that I learned is a lot of times, like, they won't even ask for, like, they'll tell you about accommodations that you won't even know about. Perfect example. I was at a company where, because you know, if you're on the phone, there's a handle time that you got to deal with, right? Well, apparently you can change your handle time. You can like they can tweak your handle time to where it's a little bit it's a little bit off of everybody else. Like it's a little bit slower than everybody else. So I don't know. Like I feel like I'm not even mad about this situation. I actually feel kind of happy because there are other things that I got to do, and I'm trying to pack up this place to move. But you know, I just felt like I just feel like putting this out because that this little 4 month job that I took, it actually showed me a lot. So now I know like to go into like now I know like I can go back into this gig or whatever, or I can go to another call center. I can be like, if it's one of those situations where they don't do you on a typing test, or they interview you anyway in besides the typing test, there are things that I can ask like that aren't even like serious reasonable accommodations that are like on the computer, and then we can at least try some stuff. So anyway, um, I'm officially working for myself until I find another 9 to 5. Anyway, pushing while black out.